Ford Pinto. Ford rushed a car to market in 25 months instead of 43. Lee Iacocca demanded a subcompact under 2,000 pounds and under $2,000. Pre-production crash tests flagged a fatal fuel tank flaw before launch. The tank sat inches from the bumper behind the solid rear axle. Differential bolts punctured the tank in rear collisions under 30 miles per hour. In 1978, Ford recalled 1.5 million Pintos to fix the tanks. The Grimshaw verdict awarded $125 million in punitive damages. Ford rushed the Pinto to save money. The Pinto cost Ford everything. Chevrolet Vega. General Motors built the Vega to defeat Toyota and Honda. In 1968, GM chairman James Roche promised a subcompact within 2 years. Corporate engineers designed the car, then handed it to a reluctant John DeLorean. The 2.3-liter aluminum block ran with no iron cylinder liners. Mismatched metals warped at operating temperature, blowing head gaskets across the country. In 1972, GM recalled 526,000 Vegas for defective rear axles. Finance saved $2.28 per car by removing fender liners. Motor Trend named it Car of the Year. Junkyards later refused to accept them. Pontiac Aztek. Buyers told GM they wouldn't take it as a gift. In the mid-1990s, designer Tom Peters conceived a radical crossover called Bear Claw. GM forced the design onto the cheaper Pontiac Montana minivan platform. The tailgate folded into a bench with cup holders and a removable cooler console. A $195 dealer tent turned the rear hatch into a camper. GM projected 75,000 sales. Best year, 27,793 units, below break-even. The Aztek never once hit its break-even volume of 30,000 units. Generation X rejected it. Millennials embraced it after Walter White drove one. Yugo GV. In 1985, the Yugo GV launched at $3,990. Malcolm Bricklin, founder of Subaru of America, hunted the cheapest car on Earth. He found it in Kragujevac, Yugoslavia. A Fiat 127 built at the Zastava factory. A 1.1-liter, 55-horsepower engine pushed the car to 86 miles per hour, missed the 30,000-mile timing belt service, and pistons destroyed the valves entirely. Yugo America sold 48,812 units in 1987, its peak year. In 1990, the EPA recalled 126,000 Yugos for emissions violations. GV stood for Good Value. The name aged like the car. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Diesel. In 1977, GM ordered its engineers to convert a gasoline V8 into a diesel. The 1973 oil crisis had panicked Detroit into chasing fuel economy. The Oldsmobile 350 gasoline block reached showrooms as a diesel for 1978. Diesels run at 22-to-1 compression. The block was designed for 8-to-1. The head bolts stretched, the gaskets blew, and water destroyed the injection pumps. Over 1 million engines shipped. The 1983 class action settlement exceeded $200 million. Mercedes and Volkswagen were selling reliable diesels in America the entire time. 10 stretched bolts handed the American diesel market to foreign brands for 30 years. AMC Pacer. The Pacer was designed around an engine that never arrived. In 1971, AMC stylist Richard Teague began designing a compact revolution. The entire body was shaped around a General Motors Wankel rotary. In 1974, General Motors canceled the Wankel program entirely. AMC shoehorned a heavy cast-iron inline-six from the 1960s inside. The body stretched 77 inches wide, matching a full-size Cadillac. First-year sales hit 145,528. By 1978, that number collapsed to 21,231. A fuel crisis compact that drank like the land yacht it copied. DeLorean DMC-12. In 1973, a future General Motors president walked away to build an ethical car. John DeLorean hired Giugiaro for the wedge shape and Lotus for engineering. Britain gave him over $100 million to build in Belfast during the Troubles. Stainless steel panels and gull-wing doors implied spaceship performance. Underneath sat a 130-horsepower Peugeot Renault Volvo V6, built for family sedans. The name promised $12,000. It launched at $25,000. Only 8,975 cars were built before the company collapsed. To save the company, DeLorean was filmed holding $24 million of cocaine. Hollywood cast the car as a time machine. Pontiac Fiero. The Fiero became one of the most fire-prone cars of the 1980s. Engineer Hulki Aldakakti wanted America's first mass-produced mid-engine sports car. His team pitched it as a fuel-efficient commuter to bypass Corvette policy. The front suspension came from a Chevette, the rear from a Citation. The Iron Duke four-cylinder threw rods, spraying oil onto red-hot exhaust manifolds. Pontiac's first fix was a new dipstick with a revised oil mark. In 1990, GM recalled 244,000 Fieros for fire hazard. Fiero means proud in Italian. It was recalled 2 years after cancellation.